Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar. I'm Caitlin Smith, your webinar host from Main Street ROI. We are very excited to be having another of our Master Your Marketing series where we bring together leaders in the digital marketing world to bring you great content focused on ways you can grow your business. This series is sponsored by all of our partners, AdRoll, Active Demand, WooRank, AdThis, Optimizer, and Lucky Orange. For today's webinar, we're excited to welcome Laura Smous, Director of Product Marketing at AdRoll. The presentation will be about 40 minutes so that we can leave plenty of time at the end for a live Q&A session. Feel free to type any questions you have in the Q&A box along the way, and we'll get back to them at the end of the webinar. As always, today's webinar will be recorded and we'll send out a replay video along with the PDF of the slides to everyone who has signed up. So if you get calls or are pulled away for work, don't worry, you're not going to miss a thing. With that, I will turn over the webinar to Laura so she can get started.
Thanks, Caitlin. Again, I'm Laura Smous, and I'm the Director of Product Marketing at AdRoll. I have over 15 years of industry experience in brand strategy, influencer marketing, and product marketing. My team and I are incredibly passionate about the topic of today's webinar, and I'm so excited to begin. I'm thrilled you could join me here today to discuss how, as direct-to-consumers or D2C marketers, you can drive continued growth by thinking beyond customer acquisition. In today's webinar, we'll cover what's happening in the market that's forcing marketers to get creative, growth opportunities you have that you might not be leveraging today, and what's keeping you from getting there. Specifically, how can you get on a marketing measurement journey that truly demonstrates the impact of your efforts? Many of the insights you'll hear today come directly from our collection of industry data and from what we've learned after 11 years of working closely with over 37,000 customers at AdRoll. That experience has led us to our current mission, to level the playing field for ambitious D2C companies to grow and challenge established brands. We want to be instrumental in our customers' growth, and our performance heritage gives us the technology, tools, and expertise to do it. First, let's start by taking a step back. There's been a dramatic shift in our world. Our shopping experience has changed and continues to change radically. As marketers, it's not only obvious, it's exhilarating, oftentimes painful, and absolutely critical for us to think about as we start to explore marketing measurement. So what's changed? Shopping used to be linear. As little as a decade ago, the way people shopped was incredibly simple. Our online and offline worlds weren't as interconnected as they are today. There were fewer ways to buy. It was harder to discover new things, and shopping, even online shopping, was mostly linear. Technology, and our relationship to it, has drastically evolved the way we live, work, and play online. Now we live in a paradox. Our world is more interconnected, yet more fragmented than ever before. Things are radically different today than they were even just a few years ago. People are always on their phones. Amazon has changed online shopping, and at the end of the day, you're seeing a once linear shopping pattern replaced by a circuitous customer journey with many stops along the way. On average, it takes about 56 touch points to make an online sale. This complexity makes it incredibly difficult to understand the impact digital marketing has on your bottom line. At the end of the day, you are starting to see something that resembles growth loops more than a linear shopping pattern. To be clear, what we're experiencing is not an evolution, it's a revolution. As humans, we can't evolve fast enough to process all the information we're now taking in. This has forced our brains to become even more adaptable. This is called neuroplasticity. In addition to that, we're all also multitaskers, creating the need for multi-channel marketing experiences. There's a term, attention ambidextrous mode, one of 3 natural attention modes that reflect consumer use of digital technology. This describes how we blend tasks together across devices. We do this because we feel it enhances productivity. So Not only are we having multi-channel experiences for different tasks, we are completing the same task across different devices. We've trained our brains to continuously switch gears, and now our brains and hearts expect the brands we love to keep up. The number of places and ways you can connect with consumers is mind-blowing. From AI, VR, to the Internet of Things, it's hard to know where to invest more and where to pull the plug. And it's only going to get harder with new technologies and the convergence of technologies such as ad tech and martech becoming exponentially harder with new regulations for how you can attract and acquire new customers, like GDPR. Marketers know it's a problem, with nearly all reporting that understanding the customer journey, optimizing their digital marketing mix, and justifying their digital spend are top priorities. It's even tougher for D2C marketers, who are not only required to topple giant incumbents by testing and optimizing novel marketing channels to maximize revenue, they have to prove their contribution to the bottom line. Trying to understand, let alone prove and communicate that contribution, just isn't possible without measurement and attribution. But measurement must evolve. While we have progressed from fuzzy metrics to more quantifiable ones like ROI, cost per acquisition, and return on advertising spend, we've yet to reach the promised land. The further your metrics are from directly measuring revenue generation, the less likely you are to get alignment with your CFO, your board, and other critical stakeholders. It's all about survival. Without that alignment, we're seeing more and more companies get rid of CMOs. Digital has taken over our daily lives as consumers. Mary Meeker cited this year that 60% of transactions, including purchases, banking, and payments, are now digital. Yet in spite of the complexity of our digital world, you see 50% of marketers still using outdated last click attribution that oversimplifies the digital experience. Even more surprising, we've actually been able to prove out again and again that there is no correlation between clicks and purchase intent. Marketing must move from a cost center to a revenue generator quickly. This all started with the click era, where we had, in retrospect, pretty simple online buyer journeys, and measuring through clicks was relatively successful, although near the tail end became riddled with issues like click fraud, bot traffic, and so on. Then we moved into the KPI era, where we desperately searched for other key performance indicators that we could use to validate our marketing spend that weren't just clicks. We also made early strides into data-driven attribution. Where we are today is the impact era, and that is reflected by our strong conviction and emerging technology that is bringing marketing closer to measuring true business impact. Over the years, Google, Facebook, and others introduced similar research, suggesting click, and more specifically, last click, attribution models are flawed, and the world began seeing a more mainstream adoption of new attribution models. In 2016, viewability came on the scene, further providing evidence that the world wanted a better understanding of the influence advertising was having on consumer behavior. Then, in 2018, companies like Procter & Gamble and Unilever all led the charge, announcing a reduction in advertising spend, yet an increase in overall sales. As barriers to entry get torn down daily, direct-to-consumer marketers must move even faster than their peers. Though D2C brands are great at acquiring new customers through innovative campaigns on social and leveraging influencers and word of mouth to grow like crazy, their work can't stop there, as new D2C brands are popping up every day and making it increasingly difficult for consumers to differentiate between your brand and competitors. So let's take a look at the D2C landscape to identify opportunities that you alone can seize. Once upon a time, D2C brands loved Facebook. You could target relevant audience segments, you could test different offers and messaging, and you can drive traffic directly to your site or online store. Platforms that removed the complexity for D2C brands enjoyed the lion's share of growth. There's still a heavy reliance on Facebook and Instagram, yet the most ambitious D2C brands want and recognize the value of developing deeper, direct relationships with their customers and want help doing just that, which they aren't getting from walled gardens. As a D2C brand, you have a unique opportunity. While D2C brands have done an amazing job making consumers aware of and interested in their brands, there's still significant competition from traditional brick and mortar retailers. So, how can you continue to maintain your competitive edge? By applying this growth mindset to what can really help your business: customer retention. Put aside your CPA and CAC goals and see what you can do in the short and long term to keep your customers coming back for more. One of the best ways to optimize customer lifetime value, or LTV, is to turn loyalists into evangelists. When you understand how to create evangelists, you have tremendous power to make your customers work for you. They ultimately become the best marketers in your organization. We've taken a hands-on approach to this ourselves at AdRoll. In 2018, we launched our global AdRoll Dare to Grow Stories campaign. The concept was simple: bring to life the growth stories of 15 of our best customers by creating a powerful way for them to tell their stories, both as brands and as marketers. We were able to make an emotional connection to AdRoll's story that never would have been possible just talking about ourselves. Case in point, we were able to unearth stories we didn't even know were there, such as the story of Jackson Zilko, digital specialist at Specialized. With the help of AdRoll, Specialized was able to increase customer retention by 7% and direct traffic conversions by 25%. To really get this going, leverage technology to orchestrate seamless, personalized, one-to-one multi-channel experiences. But be careful not to get too creepy. It's time to throw away those personalized bobbleheads and take advice from Google Think to be relevant, be there, be useful, and be quick. Taking the time to measure the impact of your campaigns is also key. This will help you in determining what impacts your marketing strategy's efficacy, whether it's a certain channel, targeting tactics, or ad creative. At the end of the day, take advantage of short-term wins. It's not all about technology. Continue to reinforce that connection with your customers. With all of these opportunities, it's vital that you begin to think like a chief growth officer. What does that mean? Well, not every company has a dedicated person who's designated to own growth, who takes a step back to evaluate how you can improve, optimize, and measure company initiatives. This is where you, as a marketing leader, have the unique opportunity to adopt this mindset and better understand not only the market opportunity your company has, but also how you can directly influence it. We're all on this journey together, and the further your metrics are from directly measuring revenue generation, the less likely you are to be getting alignment with other business leaders. Given all this, let's talk about how you can measure your efforts for both new business and existing customers. You may be asking yourself, how can I figure out what channels are working given my limited resources? This is where measurement comes in. We know it's a journey. We all know that marketing, measurement, and attribution is a hot topic. but getting into a position to truly harness its powers can be a long journey. Remember, over 50% of marketers remain stuck on last click. Everyone wants to better attribute the revenue driven by marketing dollars, but with so many of us stuck on last click, that's difficult. We need a measure. We're moving towards a method of attribution that takes the whole customer journey into consideration. So why are people so stuck on last click? It's not your fault. Many of the solutions today don't explain the pros and cons of different attribution models or how they're applying them, making it hard to understand what's behind the decisions you'll use to drive your business. Cost can be an issue, as can time to results and transparency. But don't worry, this is where your attribution begins. You're not alone. According to eMarketer, fewer than 10% of US marketers think their company's attribution knowledge is excellent. No matter where you are in your journey, you've likely tried one or two different attribution models based on your knowledge and resources. There are a lot of things to consider, no matter where you are. These 4 criteria will help you ensure that you're moving towards running a data-driven model. First, customer journey mapping. Customer journey mapping helps create a holistic view of the customer journey beyond clicks to convert and reflect the impact of your marketing. You'll need flexibility. Being flexible helps with comparing and setting standard rules or custom rules across different touch points to determine credit in a way that's appropriate for your business. You'll need a converting baseline. Converting your baseline helps with understanding how specific conversions compare against the total, so you can easily spot trends and gaps. Finally, you'll get to a data-driven model, and you can be sure that all your cross-channel activity is accounted for, so all your marketing channels and touch points and events are being evaluated accurately. Along the journey, you'll encounter barriers to success. As much as we'd like to have this issue completely solved, there are several challenges small and mid-sized companies face on the road to better marketing attribution. From aligning their internal teams around a problem, to not knowing what to do, to knowing what to do, yet lacking the capital needed to get something off the ground, to choosing the wrong vendor for the job and facing the potential of starting all over, to publisher walled gardens that are preventing access to your data and progress on your attribution journey, to the cost of keeping great measurement going. These are just a few ways that great marketers are blocked from better measurement. But good news is on the horizon. Technology is beginning to close the gap. In spite of these many challenges, you're seeing technology start to close the gap on these huge issues we just discussed. Even within the last few years, the advancements that have been made in measurement continue to bring us one step closer to incremental, data-driven attribution capabilities. If you have any questions about the measurement journey AdRoll is on in 2019, please connect with me on LinkedIn. We're happy to keep the conversation going, and thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for that, Laura. We will go ahead and get started with our Q&A section now. Does anyone have any questions at all for us? Give it a second. Okay. I don't see any questions popping up. So as Laura mentioned, you can reach out to her on LinkedIn if you do have any questions come up. Thank you all so much for joining today's webinar, and thank you to Laura for this great information. As a reminder, Yeah, no problem. We will be sending out the replay video and PDF of the slides, so look out for that. And we hope to see you next month for our next Master Your Marketing presentation. Thank you, everyone.